computer, the laptop.
Oh.
Yeah, so here
That's
it is.
really funny. Hold on just a second, Frida, because I am. Oh, there you are. I'm so jealous that you have a book, an actual paper book.
Oh, I'm
Because,
old school.
well, look, I just decided that I am never going to not do a paper book again. I'm not doing Kindle any longer. I'm not doing. I just I just want to make sure that I have paper from now on because it's impossible for me to absorb things just by audiobooks and I can't really function with an electronic book, you know?
Yeah.
So I never got used to it. It's been years. I haven't picked up on it. So now that I'm getting settled, I will actually be doing paper books, going old school.
Yeah. I like to annotate and then when I read it a second time I can see
Yes,
like on the margins, like what I was thinking at the moment.
yes, exactly, exactly. And Frida, I'm so sorry. I wrote out I didn't realize this, but I wrote out the event information and I put the wrong link in on Zoom. So people are writing and they're
Okay, do you want me to
asking
exit
about it.
this?
Huh?
Do I need to exit and then rejoin?
No, because that other link is actually invalid. So
Oh,
we're on the right one. The other one kind of doesn't exist any longer. So I'm gonna
okay.
have to figure that out. But anyway, hey, if you're watching this on Facebook, join us on the Zoom session and talk to us. Please, we'd love to have you. The link is there in the description, and it's also there on the in the chat. So there you go. And right now, I am on with my dear friend. Hey, buddy, I'm on with my dear friend Frida. And let's see. Oh wait, I've got. It says I have another. I have ET. ET, you're here. Oh, ET is here. Oh, I know who ET is. I'm not giving it away. Wait, hold on. ET. Hey, ET. It's been a long time since I've seen you, and I'm so happy that you're here with us. Hey, can you I tried to wait, I'm gonna unmute you. Apollo, no. Um ET. ET, I don't think it's letting me unmute you.
Go. Now I'm
Okay,
unmuted.
now
you hear
you're unmuted. Hey, ET, it's great to see you. Or
Hey.
hear you.
Hey.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah. Hi, it's wonderful that you're here. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Yeah, good. I want you to meet Frida. Frida, this is ET.
Hi, E.T. Nice to
Frida.
meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, this is so cool, man. I'm really delighted right now. So look, welcome to Badass Butterflies Moonlight Book Club. And we do this once a month. So each month we choose a book. Last month, for August, or for this month, we were reading The Untethered Soul. And so we started that at the end of July last month. And we do this on the fourth Sunday of each month. And I have my silly boy here with us. I'm just going to let y'all say hi. There's my silly boy. There's my silly boy.
Hi.
Hello. Say hello, silly boy. This is my sweet baby boy. I just love him. Such a sweet little thing. He's 9 months old. This is Apollo.
Hi,
And
Apollo.
he
What
loves
page
looking
are
at
you
your
on,
face.
Apollo? What page are you on?
He's really fascinated with Frida's. Oh, he
What
likes
page are
Frida's.
you on, Apollo? He can sense that I'm a dog person.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's what
He
it
likes
is.
that. And it's time for him to get his treat. And so he can go and sit down and be quiet and leave me to do my work here with you all, having fun. Actually, it's not work, it's fun. So, yeah, so book club meets on the fourth Sunday of each month. Today we're talking about the untethered soul, but our next meeting is going to be on the fourth Sunday in September. And we're going to be talking about Big Magic. So we're reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. You all know Elizabeth Gilbert from Eat, Pray, Love. She wrote that wonderful book, and she talks about creativity and overcoming fear in Big Magic. So I'm really excited, and so we'll be doing that in September. So I'm going to take this moment also.
Okay.
Say it again.
You said Big Magic. Okay, I'll write that down. Okay.
Yeah, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Okay.
And so what we do, all right, so look, I made some big changes around my offerings, and I sent out emails, but I know people don't always get to read their emails, and I want to take a moment just to clarify things. So most of my work, as you know, has been offered for free of charge on my website. The thing that I'm doing right now is I still have a lot of things that are offered free of charge. For example, Badass Butterflies Moonlight Book Club is free of charge, as are the full moon report, the new moon report, and our replays for any event that we have. Now, what I'm wanting to do is to get a more committed core group of people who are committed to working with the moon, following their heart, working with spirituality, and using the laws of the universe, like the law of attraction, the principle of allowance, the cycle of manifestation, using these key principles as a way to really run their lives. So I'm wanting to work more closely with those people. So what I've done is I've created a membership with 4 different levels of participation. So the first level of participation is what we call the beloved caterpillar level. And that's where you get the moon reports and you can join book club, and you don't pay anything to participate in that. Everything is offered to you for free at that level. The thing is, you get the moon reports, and as I said, book club is included in there. The thing is, people are wanting to know where the moon rituals are. Well, the moon rituals require a lot of my energy and input and my heart and soul. So I've put those in the next layer of membership, which is $18 US per month to participate. So at that level, you get everything from the lower level, from the caterpillar level. You get the moon reports, but in addition, you get the rituals. Now you also get the whole booklet, the spiritual guidance for the badass butterfly, that gets released each month. So that includes things like a tarot reading and an angel reading. And like, you also get an invitation to the Badass Butterfly Gathering, where you actually can sit down with me in a group with everyone else who's a part of that membership level. And you can actually get a reading for the month. So you get all those things, you get the rituals, and you get the moon meditations. There's a new moon meditation and a full moon meditation. So you can see that there are more things that are added in, but I'm also really wanting people to take our work more seriously, where it's not just, okay, I'm not going to do the moon ritual, I'm going to just let that go by. The whole point is to use the moon and the planets to help us transform and heal wounding. And that's what being a badass butterfly is about. And that's the core of to whom I'm writing and offering my services, to people who really want to invest their time, their energy, and their hearts into creating a really healthy internal world. And they want to partner with me in doing that. So if you're looking for the moon ritual and today is the full moon, by the way, you would need to sign up at the gentle cocooning level, which is the second level. Now, there are 2 other levels, but you can see all that on the Badass Butterfly website. So if you go to badassbutterfly.com, you will be taken to the memberships and it'll describe everything for you there. So that again is badassbutterfly.com. And that's where you will find all the membership information in case you're looking for that stuff. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there. Nobody really asked about membership, but I know a lot of people are concerned because book club, you have to be a member really in order to join. It's our first time doing book club, so it's okay. And I'm still trying to get the word out. So I'm all right if you're not a member right now. But in the future, you know that you've got to be a member and it's available at the free level. All right. If y'all have any questions, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, I know very little about like the planets and all of that. So so if the membership is kind of focused on that kind of work.
No, it's not really focused on that though, Frida. Like, so at the basic level, we work with the moon and the sun. Those are my primary planets to work with. I don't do astrology where I go into all the planets. So that is not what this is going to be about. But we have a new moon and a full moon every month. And we feel the new moon and the full moon really strongly. Like everybody, even without any word from me, everybody feels that intensely. So, so what I do is I prepare a report that allows me to actually give deep insight about that, and it lets people use that as their guidance for the month. So that's the basic level of membership. And that seems to be something that women love doing. They love reading that report and they love doing some kind of ritual. You know what? It's usually about journaling and writing and lighting candles and meditating. That's really a very simple twice a month type of thing that a woman can do. And it's for men as well, but really it's women who get into this stuff. That's the basic level. Now, as you get into the higher levels of membership, wow, somebody really wants to be a part of this right here. He is just all on the table. He's like, it's not just women who like the moon. It's all of us who like the moon. Absolutely. You're going to be big enough. He's going to be big enough to jump on this table, and we're going to have some discipline happening. Uh-oh. My Fitbit fell off. I need a new Fitbit. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. So at the higher levels of membership, when you start getting into the third and fourth levels of membership, we actually go into emotional wellness. We go into shadow work. We go into healing. You know, I teach Reiki and all that kind of thing. And that's a much more profound level. I think that E.T. and Gloria, who's here, and Frida, I think all of you will relate very strongly to what happens at levels 3 and 4 of the membership. But at the basic levels, we work with the sun and the moon.
Okay, I'll read through them.
Sure, great.
And let you know.
Yeah, that sounds great, Frida. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing information.
Yeah. So look, right now we've got E.T. and we've got Gloria here. Gloria, I'm gonna unmute you so you can chime in with us here. I tried to unmute you. Gloria, can you see if you can unmute yourself?
Are you there?
There you go. Yes. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So I just popped on the line, and I'll be taking a flight out of here pretty soon. I just wanted to at least come in and say good morning. I only got part of the membership. Is it what we're doing?
I'm sorry. Sorry, what do you mean, Gloria?
because I'm in your program.
Oh, right.
Are
No,
you-
but that's program. Yeah. You're in a particular program, but membership is for is a little bit different. Membership is about personal self-healing, self-awareness. You are doing a special program, a special certification, which is a little bit different. You are not a member of the Badass Butterfly membership training, but you can be if you'd like to. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so what I'll do, actually, I'm in the chat. I am going to, okay. What I'm going to do in the chat is put a link to the training page. It's brand new, by the way. This thing is only literally only 2 weeks old, and my assistant and I built it over the course of 1 month. We literally put together this entire program over the course of 1 month, and I have another person who's telling me that my meeting ID is invalid. You are correct. I'm going to fix that for you right now. Hold on 1 second, ladies. Here is the training, and let me get a link here. Oh, Q&A, nope, invite. Invite is here, copy URL, and let me send that off to Victoria. Hold on just a second, y'all. Sorry about that. All right, there we go. All right, very good. So I hope that makes it a little bit more clear. Things will start to get clear as time goes on. Y'all, I go with the flow, and I had an urge to update my website and to make things more modern. I'm going to school now. I start school in 1 week. I'm going to school full time, which means that I have to run my business in a very different way. So I want to be able to give my offerings, but I want people to be able to get everything without me, spoon feeding. So I set everything up to be automated, and that's how this program is going to be run. The membership is what I call training. Basically, the idea is that these women want to be badass butterflies. They want to go through their dark journey. They want to emerge transformed. And that's what the program is about, giving people the tools to transform. And I feel like, having these things accessible to them easily, where they always know where to go, they always know, and they don't have to wait on me to tell them, because if I'm late a day, that's a problem. But when it's already set up in advance, they don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. So that's what this program is all about, really delivering things to people in a more efficient way, and also raising the standards of what I'm offering and making it even better. That's my point. All right, my lovelies. And I see that we have one person who has joined us. Welcome. I don't know if, I'm not sure if I can hear you. If you just phoned in, if you can say hello. I know I can't hear you. I think that either you're muted, or it doesn't give me the option to offer you to talk. So I'm not sure if you just are in just to talk, just to listen. All right. So, hey, we're talking about The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And I'm assuming that you all are on this call because you've read that book. And yes, Frida has it there. My question is, let's just start chatting about it. Who liked this book?
I love this book. That means something. Okay, I worked in the self-help industry, and I heard about this book for years, and I just, because it was published by a competitor at the time, I don't know, but because of this, because of you, I'm like, okay, finally, I will just read it. And from the first page, I'm on page, I have about 30 pages to go, but I'm underlining, I am, I'm scribbling, and it's just, it pulls things together for me in ways that no book has since maybe The Power of Now,
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, E.T. I love that. That's very affirmative. Frida, what about you?
You have success, huh? You found it?
Frida.
I think for me, it's been a while since I've read it, and like I was telling Crystal Lynn, like I'm one of those that I just like when I read, it's like I process on the sideline.
Almost done.
But what I appreciated about this book was that it was very accessible for someone that didn't have this type of knowledge before.
Yeah.
Searching and looking, it just was very accessible to me, as far as like the way it started, and then it had very easy ways of applying the knowledge into daily life. Like it wasn't esoteric. It was just like taking actually things that are very, I think, complex, and kind of like making them like doable for someone that didn't know about this.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Frida. I really appreciate that. I agree with you, both you and E.T. In many ways. When I first read this book, I didn't read it. I did it as an audio book, and it was really a strange time. I was on my way somewhere. I think it might have been before my mom died. I was on my way to San Francisco. Actually, it was right after she had been diagnosed with, that's exactly when it was. It was right after she had been diagnosed with cancer, and I was going to San Francisco to run a marathon. And I was in this really strange state. I was very open, and I had I had it on audiobook, and I couldn't stay awake. There's nothing, I almost missed my flight because I was so just drained of everything. Mom being diagnosed, it was just too much, and I couldn't stay awake. And I had this audiobook playing in my ear. And all I know was that every time I would awaken, I'd doze off and wake up, and then doze off and then wake up. And every time I felt like I was being uplifted and transformed, every time I'd wake up grasping for the words that were coming out, like reaching for them, like hungering for whatever was being said. And I finished the book. I did not like, there were certain things I don't like about it, but I'll get into that later. And I finished the book, and but really appreciated it. And I recommend it to all my clients to see. So, I mean, obviously I must like the book on some level, but I have some issues with it. Like I said, we'll go into it later. Gloria's hung up already. She's not there. Okay, I've got another person emailing me. And so let me reply here. I'm so sorry, you all, for putting the wrong link in the thing. We switched it over. We used a different system. And looking back, oh my goodness, homeboy just must be a part of. He's like, I must be a part of this conversation. All these hot chicks are on the line, and he's, in puberty. And so he just loves to be in the business with us ladies. So can I ask you all, Rita, I know it's been a while since you've read the book, but do you remember, asking all of you, do you all remember like what part you liked the most, or what seemed interesting to you? Like, what did you like most about the book? Or what are some of your maybe 3 or 4 key, or tell me one of your key points, and we'll just kind of go around and share different things that we enjoyed about the book.
I can start. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, E.T., we can hear you.
Well, I totally agree with Frida that it's very simply. So, you know, if I find like the older I get, and hopefully the wiser I get, the more I can actually get out of really, really simple things.
Yeah.
When you're in your teens, you need the most esoteric, jargon-filled things for you to think you're getting anywhere. But like the older you get, it's so simple, but it's hearing it newly from a new perspective, from a new place in your life. And so what hit me just as a major starting point is just this brilliant, simple analogy of the roommate in your head. You know, how many books I've read and of course studied all the traditions, and we all the monkey mind and all this stuff, but despite all that, this simple analogy that you have literally a crazy person, and then this thought experiment of imagine this, externalize this voice and imagine this person is living with you and realize how insane this person is. Would you ever take advice from this person? Yeah. Would you? It just really highlights that we're living, that the voice is just, I don't know, completely unreliable, completely
unreliable.
Insane, and how we are giving it so much attention. And then I love how he says, what we've done to this poor thing is placed the whole, how do I put this? This is like the analogy says, if the body was asked to run a marathon 5 times a day and, climb up to Himalayas, it would break down and fall apart. Same with the psyche. We're asking the psyche to fix everything, to protect everything, to make everything perfect all the time, to prevent anything not perfect from ever happening. Of course, this poor thing is having a psychotic break all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's just that alone, that very early in the book just sets the tone of such clarity that everything else you've ever learned about these things just really gets reinforced because it's such a stark and simple, even visual analogy, That's what I love.
Yes, absolutely. I love the way you very nicely summarize that, E.T. It's I love it because those number one are my favorite points and my favorite things about the book as well. But also, he has a way of really, like Frida said, simplifying it and really putting it in perspective. Like, he's always putting things back in perspective in the book, like, look at yourself and the whole planet. You're on a planet that's spinning, and here you are concerned about the way your hair looks, like, it's okay for you to care about the way your hair looks, but it doesn't need to be an obsession. And you need to understand what else is, understand. No. You need to understand yourself in a different way. All right, bud, down. He's crazy. All right, sorry about that.
He's the untethered dog.
He's such an untethered soul. It's wonderful. It's really a great learning experience for me. Yeah. Frida, would you like to share something?
I think what I appreciated, it's been a while since I've read it. I think it's been 2 years, but
yes.
I think what it helped, the way it's helped me is like I like this section of the book that I really highlighted was on page 95.
Yes.
The truth is, everything will be okay as soon as you are okay with everything, and that's the only time everything will be okay.
Yeah.
I've been like this type A plus. Like literally, that was my nickname at my last job. Type A plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it was making me like emotionally ill. Because I needed to like be perfect and control everything. So this was the beginning of the journey of kind of like starting to let go.
Yes,
so
exactly.
In that regard, this book was really, really helpful.
Yes, exactly. Very good. I feel like number one, Frida, that was one of my favorite quotes as well from the book.
Oh.
Yeah, so definitely that's very cool. I feel like, when I first read The Power of Now, I don't know about you all, but I am a resistant motherfucker. I resist. Okay, just being honest with you, I resist. And where I resist, I know that I must listen. I must pay attention. This is what I've learned, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm going to resist. And I remember loving the first part of the book, but really resisting the second part of the book. And in the second part of the book, he goes on and talks a lot about happiness, and he's really gone into letting go. And he did something that still bothers me. I may not ever let go of this. I might continue to resist this, but he's talking about things, and he's like, just let those feelings go. And the criticism I have about the book is that he does not give enough value to the pain and the negative emotions. Now, I'm really a person, as you all know, I'm someone who values negative emotions as much as I do positive emotions. I do not believe that any emotion is to run my life. I love feeling joy, but Lord knows that when I feel too much joy, I start feeling anxious. So for me, the highest vibration of feeling is peace. It is just being at peace and allowing energy to flow through me. Now, what he doesn't emphasize enough to me in the book is the value of actually being able to sit and enjoy your pain. So he does do a beautiful chapter on pain. And, but what he does is he talks beautifully about pain, but then he's like, yeah, you just got to let that go. You just got to let that go. And what you do is you find the core of the pain and you just let it go. And for me, that is the thing that makes me turn off to any kind of dialogue, because it invalidates my experience. So I am a person who values pain. I love sad songs. I love sad songs, sad movies. I love that kind of weepy tenderness. I do. Do I want to do that all the time? No, but I see the value in it, and I don't want it to go away. I want it to flow away in its natural way, and I want to use it and heal, I'm okay with feeling the sadness. He does say that you can sit with it, but the way he doesn't seem to understand that sitting with pain takes you through layers and layers and layers and layers of pain. I don't know if you all have ever done mood melting. I know some of you have done mood melting, but mood melting is when you sit with your pain and you sit with it without needing it to change. It changes on its own. And when you sit with pain, it goes from being pain into being peace. Because the more you practice non-resistance, you enter into a state of high vibrational peace. But he doesn't, and I know he's saying that ultimately that's what you have to do, but he doesn't describe it in a realistic way. He kind of like, it's like, all you need to do is just sit with that pain and face it. All right, and 20 minutes later, I faced my pain and now I can move on. And that's just not in my experience personally, and also with my clients as a coach. It's not the way it normally works. Sitting with your pain requires you to have a tremendous capacity to hold space for yourself. To expect the average person to be able to do that, it's not going to happen. So for me, I feel like this book, because he doesn't give enough joy to pain, it's going to cause people to do the other thing, which is, okay, I sat with my pain for 10 minutes. Now I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go distract myself from pain, which is what Abraham Hicks tends to do. Oh, just distract yourself from your pain, by thinking better thoughts. reach for a higher vibrational thought. It's really hard to reach for a higher vibrational thought when I'm down in depression. Yes, anger might be a higher vibrational thought, but now I'm angry and depression keeps dragging me down. Okay, well, you're in a better mood because you feel angry. Okay, no, it doesn't feel that great to me. It makes me now feel like I want to tear everything apart. Now I'm hating everybody, you know? So I really feel like just this book would be like almost perfect if he had given so much more space to the human experience of allowing pain, embracing it, and how to really get deep with it and to accept, you know, that it's okay to be in pain for a little bit of time. You know, grief, you know, when you lose someone, you lose a pet, you lose a friend, you lose a family member, you're not going to just be like, oh, I'm above it, I'm transcending. You might need to be in grief for a year. You know, you might need to go deep. And I think all that is admitted in the book. Sorry, I just went on a tirade. Sorry, guys. There I am. There you go.
Absolutely love what you're saying, Crystal. And if I could speak to that, because on the one hand, you know, it's a very, very simple book.
Yes.
But on the other, I feel so strongly about this book. And I usually am the one in my circle of friends, like, read this book. I've been really cautious recommending this book only to certain people, because I also realize the way he writes, it's like on the one hand it's very simple, but on the other, if you haven't really explored the concept of letting go from all kinds of angles, like I feel if I had read this book even 2 years ago, I would have been similar. I would have taken it on the level of Abraham Hicks or just relaxing, or not to worry so much, you know. I think I'm getting so much out of it because I've done so much work in these past few years from like experiential and yoga and all kinds of other stuff, where when you say to me release and let go, that means so much. It's a very sort of intense, multi-dimensional thing. And I love I think he does touch on it a little bit with Samskara.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
How to open your heart, but it's like a discipline. It's an art form. And if you have none of those associations and you're just reading it and you're coming to it fresh without ever having really studied that stuff, it really can be like, you know, sort of superficial. Like it can just totally miss the mark for some people. So I'm not recommending it, you know, to anyone other than someone who really, and if you do know how to let go, I think, and I'm not, you never know completely, but if you appreciate the depth and the complexity of what's involved in that, I do think there's value in his approach. Like I do.
Absolutely.
Has really put me right up to the edge of understanding there is between just watching and actually letting it pass through you. Like even the way he talks about, I've always known thoughts are just objects of the mind, but he puts it deeper that emotions are just objects of the mind. Any experience is just an object floating by, but floating by doesn't mean don't engage with it at all. It just means let it pass through you.
Yeah.
That is, so for me, it's definitely taken me a step down the road that I wouldn't have had without him, even though I get what you're saying. Like he does, he can be sort of flippant with it.
Yes, no, E.T., I totally get it. I'm cracking up every time I call you E.T., by the way. I'm having a real giggle. I'm totally having a giggle. Because I have to also stop myself from calling you by your name. And, but yes, I think you said that so beautifully. And I know that part of my trigger, I told you that the book triggers me, and what I resist, I must go toward. And I'll tell you, I went to see Abraham in San Francisco when I was in California in June. And I had an eye-opening experience. And it was that moment when they were correct. When Abraham Hicks is saying, oh, you just have to let that go. You know, just like Michael Singer is preaching in his book, he's like, just let it go. And I had my tarot cards, and I'm like, what, God, am I supposed to just let go of my pain? And I took a card, and the answer was like, yes, just let go of your pain. Just let it go. And I said, said, wait, no, what do I have to, I can't give credence to my shadow any longer? What, I don't have to go back and deal with my crap? No, you don't have to deal with your crap. And I'm like, oh man. And I said, all right. And in that moment, it was really interesting. In that moment, I literally said, I said to my higher self and I said to my soul, I said, look, y'all, in this moment, I'm now going to practice letting go. You hear me saying it. I'm now not going to focus on the past. I'm letting it go. And that's what I did. And I have to say things have been different, but I don't think that I could get there from where I was, like y'all said, 2 years ago. No, I needed to do some work on my past. I needed to give my inner child attention. I needed to come to terms with my own behavior. I needed to come to terms with the behavior of the people around me. I had to come to terms with the fact that my mother never loved me. Like, she didn't even like me a little bit. I had to deal with that. Now that I've dealt with that, I feel like I've done myself justice. I feel like I've done my history justice. Now I can start letting go. Now it's no longer just positive thinking, which I don't agree with. It's now genuine thinking. Like, look, I know I have pain. I'm willing to let that go. You know, it's because I've served it. It's because I've sat in unconditional presence with my pain. And, you know, it's because I've felt compassion for other people. It's because I've learned what it feels like to be addicted, to be heartbroken. And I've explored that genuinely on my own. I've helped other people through it. Now I'm ready to let it go.
I think for me, like, as I'm hearing you say that, because like prior to reading this book,
Yeah.
I identified myself a lot with like the stuff that would come up, right? The constant chatter. So
Yeah.
I would latch on to that, and that would take me on a ride, not a healthy ride at all. So I think the way that this book helped was that I didn't have to identify with what was coming up, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm going to ignore it, but it's the identification process.
Ooh, I love that, Frida. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah. And there's this, I just took like a class on mindfulness for emotional balance. And in it, they taught us a technique called RAIN, which I'm sure you've heard of.
I don't think so.
RAIN. So the R is for reckoning. It's just kind of like when things come up, reckoning means like you identify like, okay, I'm feeling whatever it is you're feeling. And then the A is acknowledging that something has come up, right? So it's reckoning and acknowledging, or like reckoning is kind of like slowing down enough to be aware that something's coming up for you. Acknowledging would be the acknowledging how you're feeling at the moment. I'm feeling. RAIN is to be used with like negative emotions, we identify as negative emotions. And then I is to investigate, not to investigate why, the psychology, the history behind it, but like, where am I feeling it in my body?
Yes.
And the N, which really helped me, is the non-identification. So when I read this, and now looking at like page 103, where he writes, to live at this level of freedom, you must learn not to be afraid of inner pain and disturbance.
Yes.
As long as you are afraid of the pain, you will try to protect yourself from it.
Yes.
The fear will make you do that. So I think like that, and the technique that I learned is, you don't walk away from pain.
Right.
You just don't identify it. Like it shouldn't define you. So the teacher had us do like an exercise where we would say, like at this moment, anxiety, the anxiety is coming up, or at this moment, the thought of anxiety is arising. Do you know what I mean? So it would create a space. So it's through that non-identification that I think you're able, at least for me personally, I'm able to balance that older identification with it, where it was like consuming me, really.
Frida, I really love what you're saying. I just love what you're saying. Just this morning, I woke up literally, and I grabbed my phone and I made a video. And the message that came to me literally was, you have to unattach yourself. You have to unattach. And the idea is that you're too attached to outcomes, you're too attached to your feelings, you're too attached to your body. And there is a way of occupying this experience in a way that is more fluid and not so stagnant, you know, where I'm fluid in my body, I'm fluid in the moment, energy is flowing through me, my thoughts are flowing, my mind is expanding and things are coming in, but I'm so damned identified with my ego, my egoic self, you know, that I'm so identified with my ego that I lose sight of everything else. This is the issue. And this is not all the time, by the way. Most of the time, I'm actually in a more selfless state. I'm much more in a connected state. But I do notice that there are times of the day when these feelings arise and I am consumed by these emotions. And I'm sure that it has to do with like the Chinese medicine organ clock, because there are parts of the day where I'm perfectly fluid, and then there are parts of the day where I'm like so stuck, you know?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said earlier. Chinese what?
Oh, the Chinese organs, like in traditional Chinese medicine, there's a body clock, and at different times of the day, different parts of your body are recharging, regenerating, purging, purifying. Okay. So for example, at between 1 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the morning, your liver is regenerating. So like when you wake up between 1 and 3, it's probably because of some emotional stuff in your liver. Your heart, I think, is at 12 noon or 11 to 1 o'clock in the day or something like that. I believe that. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I was saying that I think that maybe these kinds of moods strike me when those organs are regenerating, you know, when things are coming up to be processed in my body. Yeah, really good.
I really like the way you put that with fluidity. You know that. Yes. In order to be fluid, and that's what we want. I mean, literally, even in the startup world where I happen to be working, it's all, I mean, they're investing money in research, and everyone's reading books to figure out how do we attain a flow state? How do we reach peak, you know, creativity and problem solving and being creative and all this stuff? And it requires literally, it's like if you're running in the river, how are you going to flow as you detach from the sides, right? It's all about that. And I love, and it reminded me of what he talks about in the book. He has this thing where he says, just as a fish can, this is on page 129, just as a fish can pass through water but not through ice, which is simply concentrated water, so mental and emotional energy patterns become fixed when they encounter concentrated consciousness. Which is just another, and this is another thing I really am taking from this book, and has totally expanded my understanding of consciousness, which I've studied. It's like the central thing in my life. I studied philosophy, and I've never understood it so beautifully, that this very neutral understanding of consciousness, that consciousness is so entire. It's really just this, Buckminster Fuller sort of neutral web that's simply almost like becomes or responds to whatever you focus on. And it sort of solidifies and almost then becomes whatever it's looking at. And the moment you look away, the whole web expands again or expand, doesn't contract anymore. And to see it as so neutral, there's no value judgment to it. There's no good or bad. I just love how life is such a spiral of coming back to the same realizations over and over from different conceptual frameworks. And I love that. It's really just about where you put your freaking attention. And if you want to flow with the river, you stop looking and clinging to the sides. Just flow. Look up. Look up.
I just yesterday I went to Dan Siegel was presenting his new book. What is it? Aware. And he talked about that exactly, E.T., the where you focus your attention, that's where your consciousness is, right? So he's come up with like an awareness wheel where if you focus on like your sensory, like your senses, what's coming in, then your awareness will be based on that, like just on your, what you hear, what you, so you're like on reaction mode, right? It's the way I interpret it. And then there's the other one around, like physical sensations. And then there's a third region, which is like your thoughts, your feelings, and all of that. And then your the fourth section is like your relational to yourself and others. But then in the center is your awareness. And when you are aware of your awareness, then people feel like he did this study where he asked 10,000 people, when you are aware about your awareness, how do you feel? And people felt like joy. Yeah, exactly that. The hub, like people just totally felt like open, calm, peace, and all of that. And I think with the untethered soul and kind of these things that we're discussing right now, like at least for me, I was very much into like the mental activities where I was like very intellectual. That seems to be like my, I love to read, I love to discuss stuff and all of that, but I tend to like rely way too much in that. And then the times when I've gone like I did a 5-day silent retreat, and I started like going into the hub a little bit more. I started feeling more like, I don't know, it's just, I guess, calm. And they talk about like the connection with other people, like you feel like you're more in connection with like the universe, like beyond all this other stuff.
Yeah. Look, I feel like this is really cool. I'm going to definitely look into this more.
Yeah.
Frida, the only way I've ever really been able to get into this was I can get there during meditation. But for me, I have to do that mood melting. And this is where mood melting takes me. When I sit with my pain and I offer up no resistance to my pain, and I just let go of all the resistance in myself and my body, then this is where I find myself. This is where I end up going. This is beautiful. Thank you. Mind your brain, Inc. Cool. Very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just yesterday we spent the day at that workshop, so it was.
Yes. Very good. So, is there anything else that anyone wants to share? We're approaching the end of our session. Anything in particular?
It's just it's been very rich, and Thank you, Frida, for being. I love Dan Siegel. I love listening to that man talk. I've read most of his books. I love how he approaches parenting too. So if anyone's listening, please check him out. Like, he's just one of those. He came totally from the Western medicine universe, and is one of these forces who is really trying to bridge and bringing the two worlds together of East and West, spiritual and scientific. And I can't believe I wouldn't have known about this book if you hadn't mentioned it. So I'm already downloaded it, and that will be.
He just published it or released it, whatever the word is.
Fantastic.
Very dense. It's very dense because he goes over like the study and all of that.
Yeah. That's great.
Very good. All right. I want to just give you just a quick little, I don't know, I was making some notes and I kind of just organized them into a way of like my own little steps to peace, like to feeling that peace and the way I have to let go. I have to, number one, become aware of myself every day, meaning the higher self, right? The connection to all through meditation. And for me, Qigong is really good for that. I don't really like yoga so much, so I tend to do more Qigong than yoga. So becoming aware of myself and getting in alignment, getting my energy in alignment. I do shadow work every morning. It's not always deep shadow work because I'm not always feeling like I have something, but I always look at what doesn't feel right. Wherever I feel resistance, I don't just let it go. I make a little note about it. And I do some kind of shadow work that says, why is it that you feel this way, blah, blah, blah. Let's do some work around the inner child or whatever it is that needs to come up. It can be 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes when it's a big thing, like usually around the moon, I feel my feelings much more deeply. It's a full moon. I did some big shadow work over the last few days. So that, it would be longer, 30 minutes, an hour of just doing shadow work on, in that. My other thing is whenever I'm in a situation, wherever I am, I practice non-resistance. Even though I'm telling you all about my resistance to this book, I allow myself to have my resistance because I like to know, and I don't mind feeling resistance. I like to engage things. That's a part of my nature. But I also, I did not close the book. I keep the book open and I practice non-resistance. Okay, I see you shutting down. I see you trying to shut this out. So what we're going to do is just allow it to come through. We're going to allow it. So I practice non-resistance to whatever is going on around me. Also, I developed a great respect for pain. I have not taken a single pain pill in 3 years. And I allow myself to sit with pain and engaging it, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain, just sitting with it and having an attitude toward pain of, I'm not afraid of you. Like he said, I'm not afraid of fear, right? Yeah. And just allowing fear to be something, as Elisa pointed out, these objects, an object of the mind. Like, okay, fear doesn't get to get the best of me right now. I'm going to non-resist that fear, but I'm not going to be in resistance to the fear, but I'm not letting fear drive the car. I know we'll learn more about that when we read Big Magic next for next month. And then he said something else in the book that I really like. I love this. And he's like, look, you have to decide that you want to let go of the thing that's bothering you. He said, you have to stop putting cigarettes in your mouth if you want to stop smoking. like ultimately, you don't want to smoke. You can't put the cigarette in your mouth. At some point, you got to stop doing that, right? So that was kind of really something that I'm reminding myself, like, look, you have to decide that you're not going to escape. You're not going to escape into the world of whatever, binge watching. You're not going to escape. You're going to instead be present and give yourself what you truly need. Usually it's not cake or pie. Usually it's some kind of validation or just seeing yourself or just taking a break. Simple. Let's see. I wanted also what Elisa.
It's okay. It's all good. No worries at all.
Thank you.
I still don't know who you are, so don't worry.
Right? I know. I'm not good at that stuff, man. This is why I say make up a whole new name and then don't tell me that you're coming on the line. Just come in and be this other person. So the thing that you had mentioned earlier, and you talked about, you mentioned how he taught to not give the mind so much damned responsibility. You expect the mind, or we expect the mind to hold the world in order. Like the mind, we have to be able to process everything through the mind. And that's another thing I took away from this that I want to make sure that I stop doing now. And the last thing I wrote was to start allowing the world to simply be as it is. And again, E.T. talked about this neutral state of consciousness. And that is really what is powerful for me. Like just letting it be without the judgment, without resisting, just, hey, this is happening. It's not always easy, but it's, I'm practicing every day. These are the things that I practice every day, by the way, my friends.
I think what's helping me instead of, because before I was like, just like when I hear let it go, it just almost sounds like it just sounds like it's trivializing it. But I think
yes.
what helped me is the non-identification. Like when I learned that acronym RAIN, it's like, okay, I'm not like, I'm aware that it's coming up, and then, doing the shadow work, like you were saying. But in order to do the shadow work, at least for me, I have to not identify with it.
Okay.
Then that creates distance. So like, instead of saying I'm depressed, like Dan Siegel yesterday spoke about the power of words, that it accesses the linguistic part of your brain. And so words are very powerful. So if I'm saying I'm depressed, or I'm a feeling of depression is coming up for me, that already is creating a little bit of distance. It's still not like avoiding it and saying I'm not feeling what I'm feeling, but it's also saying, let me investigate. So I think that little distinction there, even though it's very, very small, I think for me has been helpful. Because before, like you were saying, when people were like, oh, just smile and, just, be happy. And like, that's like, I've never liked that. But this, I feel like it's empowering, because it's like, okay, you don't have to identify with it.
Yes, I love this. I love it, Frida. I love it. And I love for me, I used to be so detached and so out of my body that it was causing me emotional issues, being detached. And so for me, being in the body, being in the experience, living things fully through the body as in I am, when I'm doing shadow work is essential. I can't do shadow work and have any kind of detachment, because my healing comes from submersion, right? I submerge myself, I experience, while I'm submerged, I release the resistance, and then I naturally float back up. You see, that's how it is for me, but I have a very strong pain threshold. I almost need the pain in order to actually come to the present moment. So for me, and I know not a lot of people are really into that, So I can see where we need both ways. You know, even when I'm working with clients, I cannot expect them to submerge themselves in pain. The mind won't even let that happen, you know? Mm-hmm. So for them, it's easier to have a little bit of a distance from it and to see it more objectively and to do the work in that way. And I think that they have a tremendous benefit from that. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. I hear you.
Boy, this was a good conversation, ladies. Last time I did book club, there was nobody on the line, right? And I wrote Frida, and I'm like, Frida, I don't know if anybody's going to be on the line. Can you join me? And she's like, yeah, I know that book. And I know Frida knows she's reading her books all deep. And I knew it was a little while since she read it, but I knew she knew that book because she's not a superficial reader. She'd be taking that stuff in and she'd be chewing on it and she'd be integrating it and applying it and talking about it and sharing and using it. Yeah, man, I knew you'd be able to come with it.
You know, thank you for saying that. You know, Crystalline, I'm interested in kind of exploring with you. You were saying how for you, you feel things like, and you have a threshold for pain and you'd like to, I mean, I think I'm understanding what you're saying. I'm a head person, you know, and, but I'm really not aligned right now. Like my body is like this. The rest of me is like this. So I feel that there's I guess dissonance is a nice way of putting it.
Sure.
Of me saying that I'm misaligned, I just feel like there's dissonance. My body is saying something. I don't know what it's saying.
Yeah, look,
that's outside of the book club, but as you were just mentioning that, I was like, I'm completely like fighting my body right now.
Yeah, look, Frida, this is why I feel like this is why I have to submerge myself, because my body tells me what's going on in the depth of my psyche. So I'm the person who, when I'm upset, will break out in eczema, like a scaly crust, shingles in my scalp, you see? And that can happen in an instant. I can feel it coming. I can feel it rising. And the moment I just surrender, I get in the body, you know? How does this feel? What's happening in my physical
I don't even know what that is. Like, I hear the words that you're saying, getting in the body, surrendering.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I know this is outside of the book club, so maybe we could set up a time to talk about it some other time, because I am interested. I'm so in my head all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been starting to do a little meditation, but I'm still, guess what? I'm still approaching meditation from my head.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Well, and it's
I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it, but it's almost like, you know, when you're learning a language and you want to say something, but you don't have the actual words in the language yet. So you can't express.
Yeah.
That's me right now. I know I just don't have the language for describing what it is that's happening.
Yeah.
So I feel like this was helpful.
Good.
It kind of started to create kind of like an understanding of a different way of thinking. But now I'm like, okay, I don't know. I feel like disintegrated.
You know, what I'm going to recommend for you, Frida, is Women Who Run with the Wolves. Have you read that yet?
Yeah. I'll go back and I you had me listen to it. But what I can do is go back and actually read it, maybe. I think you wanted me to listen to it, though.
Well, because the author reads it, and she reads it so magnificently. It's such a healing experience to be taken on that journey. How did you like the listen?
Oh, it was difficult for me.
Okay, this is
yeah, because I'm such a, I'm like, let me highlight. I also buy like these little bookmarks. I mean, it's like a whole it's like my comfort zone.
Right? Look, I totally get it. I get it, darling. I totally get it. The thing is, Frida, that reading that she does, when you allow it, will put you so into your body. Will put you in your body if you listen to it. So please, today, I want you to not read it while you're sitting up. I want you to maybe light some incense and lie down, and don't worry if you fall asleep. Don't read it at night before bed. Don't do it listen to it. Don't listen to it at night before going to bed. It's not about going to bed. It's about giving yourself a highly pleasurable experience and letting yourself be taken on a journey, because that reading of that book will open up your heart. She goes into your loins. She goes right into your root chakra, and will give you a very shifting experience. Mm-hmm. You can try reading the book as well. Now, when we have a hard time getting into the physical body, I like to look at the root chakra, as you know. And I also, what's kind of coming in right now is for you to maybe do a little work around your birth experience. So when you were born, a lot, and people don't realize this, but the way we come into the world sets up a pattern for what we experience in the world. So when a child is born through cesarean section, they are not passing through the root chakra. They're not passing through the birth canal. They're being robbed of the experience of their crown chakra, connecting through the root chakra and coming into the world in their own right.
My mind. Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's so fucking powerful.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because when my mom had me, it was a vaginal birth, but she was in New York, and she was surrounded by people that spoke English. She wasn't able to communicate with them. So it was, and she said that it was very painful. Mm-hmm. And I think, and she was like far from family. All her family was like in Colombia. And she wasn't able to like let people know, like she was literally like on her own. I mean, my dad was there, but he was like outside. So in the actual room, it was her with people that she couldn't communicate with.
Nobody Spanish speaking there for her.
No, this is like close to 50 years ago. I think the medical field has now started to like, maybe there's a translator on staff or whatever. So I remember hearing that, and she was like, didn't have her mom there, didn't have her sisters, didn't have anybody, and didn't speak the language. And she says that it was extremely painful.
Yes, Frida, I can't imagine the experience that your mom had. I mean, that to me, it sounds terrifying. Yeah. Like putting your hands, your life in the hands, your baby's life in the hands of people that don't get you, that you don't even know if they see you or not. Exactly. And man, that would, from her perspective and from your perspective, what's happening, picking up on her vibe, there must be so much there. And maybe even before you go into Women Who Run with the Wolves, maybe try doing a little just guided, not a guided meditation, but just, I like to say, whenever I need to explore something, I basically say to my spirit guides, look, I need to know. So take me on the journey. I'm willing to trust that they are taking me on the journey. So it's not a problem for me to let go and just accept what comes into my mind, you see. So I would like to encourage you to do that, just to sit and say, I want to go back and I want to witness my birth. I want to be reborn. I want to experience that again, either from the outside or from the process of being born. I can get there in an instant. I'm already feeling stuff happening, you know? So just try it and see, and don't be afraid to use your mind. It's okay. Just don't resist what comes up. Does that make sense?
No, but we can maybe discuss it just on our own. I see that
we'll set an appointment for sure.
Yeah, like ET, I think.
I'm sorry. It was so lovely to meet you, and I love what you're talking about. My son is bouncing off the walls. I have to go.
Okay. And
perfectly fine. It's very nice meeting you, ET. Thank you for sharing information on the book.
Yes, ET. Thank you so much for coming, beautiful. See you next time for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I look forward to it.
Bye.
Bye. So Frida, you and I will set an appointment for whatever you feel like you need. Think about it, and then write me, and we'll figure out what what our course of work will be. Okay?
Yes, I will write you. Great.
All right, lovely.
Great
Talk to you later.
I love your new glasses, by the way.
Thank you. I finally can see. Oh my God, I can actually see. I've had these glasses for years. I had the wrong prescription. Now they have a good prescription. I can see, and I'm so happy.
I know, it's helpful. I know, I'm wearing these too, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You look great, darling. I'm happy to see you.
I will connect with you. I will.
Yes, I look forward to that.
Yes.
All right. Bye for now, lovely.
Bye.
Bye, Frida. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.